Good morning. Today is the 10th of Sivan and the 30th of May. I don't know if there's the 31st, is there?
Well, I know the first of the month is Friday.
Aha, so there is the 31st. Okay. And we are continuing with our essay on the intellectual soul. So yesterday we talked about why the animal soul is engraved from both sides. Somebody wrote me it's called a scouring pad. So the scouring pad for
said
the
that yesterday.
nobody heard it. You're not holding that.
To myself.
Yeah, maybe. So scouring on the inside.
I have a story.
Oh no, so
Afterwards.
afterwards is now. The scouring from the inside, we said, is from Psukkah de Zimra.
One sentence in honor of my brother's wedding tonight and my wedding next week.
Well, it's not his brother getting married, it's his
No,
brother's granddaughter.
Right.
Yeah.
And my brother's grandson and my granddaughter. And Shavuos. Shavuos is the time when the Jewish people married Hashem, right?
Mm.
So who was the Kala? The Kala was the Torah. So who's the Chatan?
Kala was the Jewish people.
Yeah. Jewish people, right?
The
Torah.
Torah was the wedding ring.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the question is like this. A kid was going to a wedding with his father, and he says, I want to see what's going on. It's fine. He says, I know that the Kala is wearing white. No, the Kala is wearing white. I can pick her out from because she's different to everybody else. But how do I pick out the Khatan? They all look the same, glasses and a hat and a long black coat. She says, watch carefully the whole wedding. Says, watching, says, I still don't see her as the Khatan. Says, wait to the end. At the end, you see who takes the Kala home. The one who takes the Kala home is the Khatan. So we married the Jewish people, but we're married to Hashem. How do we know? Just after Shavuos, we take the Torah home.
We continue. Very nice. So we said that scouring from the inside is the Psukkah de Zimra, the part of the morning prayer called Psukkah de Zimra, right about here, somewhere around here. And the scouring from the outside, we said, are the Chukim, this side.
This side.
Yeah.
And what is this? What is that scouring?
You're in the wrong one. You're in Shnach. That's fine.
Obviously. Okay. So,
that's where, yeah.
And the Rebbe writes that the scouring pad for us, how do we clean the kelim? With the tears and saying Tehillim.
Say that again. That's not for the animal soul. Okay. And we said that all the mitzvos have a origin in the crown, but specifically the ones that are called chukim, the ones that are called laws that have no rational side. So we said anything that is beyond the rational is what scours the outside of the vessel, of the animal soul. So we're like 7 lines from the bottom, 8 lines from the bottom. V'zeu. No. Yeah. V'zeu.
Yeah.
V'zeu be'er chafaru asarim. This is what it means. We read in the Torah that they had a song of the well. And the song of the well was to commemorate, to give thanks for the water that they had in the wilderness.
Which song is this? This is the first time when Miriam sang, or this is the second time?
No, this is at the end of Numbers.
This is when the well brought up all the pieces of the bodies.
Right. In Parashat Pinchas. וזהו בערך חפרו עשרים, מבחינת יסוד דנוקבה, שכדי שיהיה מבחינת נוקבה, מבחינת יסוד התקשרות באלוקות, על ידי התעוררות הנעל, צריך חפירה, כי בלא זה ליבו אטום כבתולה. So what is this whole scouring for? Why are we doing this? As we said, we want to connect the animal soul to godliness with love, so that it has a connection. It says the same way that when you make a well, the animal soul also, that it shouldn't disturb us, because it has its own agenda.
We wanted to convert it. That's what we wanted to make it from.
I didn't say convert. Connect.
We wanted to change its whole attitude.
Right. Attitude is the right word. Right.
We wanted to join in with us. We wanted to become part of the family.
Right.
So we're converting it from against to 4.
So converting is a very loaded word.
Changing its attitude.
Right, we're changing its attitude. And he says this really requires, it's not this thing that we're calling engraving is really like a digging down, like you're digging a well. You have to dig down into the ground far enough so that the waters come out. This is a very, very interesting image. And that's called Yesod de Nukva. Yesod de Nukva is the feminine foundation. A well is an example of the feminine foundation. This is all imagery. If you don't get it, I'm not going to explain it. Okay? You understand? A well is like a feminine foundation.
It's forth water.
That too. That too. But not because of that. Because the feminine is recessed. It's
hidden.
It's not just hidden, it's recessed. Meaning it has to be penetrated. Feminine is always, literally in Hebrew, feminine means nikba, which means like a hole.
Give and take. We give and they take.
Something that is like a recess in the ground. Yeah. So that's called the animal soul is feminine in this sense. And so the scouring is not just scouring, it says. It's much more than that. It's like you have to dig a well into yourself. You have to dig a hole into the animal soul. Because who's the animal soul going to receive from? Going to receive from, theoretically, from the divine soul. But everything we're learning here is that there's an intermediate, the intellectual soul. So the intellectual soul is like as if it's going to penetrate into the animal soul. So it makes a yesod de nukva. And this yesod, this entrance, this recess, is what will be filled later with godliness. Because without this, it's as if his heart is sealed like a virgin. It's very interesting language. Why do we use this? Because Shir HaShirim is based on this imagery. And this imagery appears in many places. A woman is called Karka Olam. That's how people also think about it. They call it Mother Earth. They don't say Father Earth. There's very strong imagery that the earth is something that is feminine. And so one of the big things about the earth is that you have a well. And to dig a well, you have to go deeply inside. You have to penetrate. And then the water comes out. Okay? But you have to be able to open it up. And the way that you dig, again in this image, the way you're scouring is what I used it before, but now we're saying it's much more than that. It's not just scouring, it's actually digging into it. So the way you dig is using the mitzvah, so we just talked about. Because they're chakikah, they're chok. Like we said, there are laws that don't have a rational basis. But when they reveal themselves, when let's say the penetration itself of the law is what makes the recess, what makes the well. But the penetration afterwards comes from Moses. This image needs a little thinking about. Moshe is called Yesod de Abba. He's always called the foundation of the father principle. So he's the masculine. I think we're going to have to end. Because Moshe Rabbeinu, even though you would have assumed that if these mitzvahs are so high, only God could have said them. But in the end, Moshe Rabbeinu is the one who taught us these mitzvahs. They're not in the Ten Commandments. And in fact, none of the mitzvahs in the Ten Commandments are really chukim, right? It's very surprising. It's a question in and of itself. If the Ten Commandments were spoken by God himself, what would you expect to be there? the mitzvahs that are super rational, that a human being could not say. But that's not what's in them. Okay? Very interesting. It's an interesting topic. She says, Para Aduma, the red heifer, which is the example of the chok, was actually said by Moshe Rabbeinu. And we have to end.
Finish to the end. Finish to the
This is.
Finish to the
Can't get over them. This is what it means if you follow my statutes, my laws, chukotai, these laws that have no rational basis. ודרשו מזל הלוואי בחוקותיי תלכו, היינו שיהיה בחינת הליכה ובחינת אהבה, ולהתקלל באחד, צריך לזה שתי חקיקות. כי בידי זה אי אפשר שיהיה לו בחינת אהבה, מאחר שהוא אסור בגוף בנפש הבהמית, כמשל האסור בזקים, שאי אפשר לו להלוך, אלא אם כן ישתברו הזקים. So he says this is what it means, the opening verse of Parashat Bechukotai, that if you would walk in my statutes, my super rational statutes, it says to walk you have to make these two engravings, these two from the Psuke de Zimra, which is really what the divine soul, the intellectual soul is doing. It's replacing the intellectual foundation that the animal soul has. It has a certain way of thinking. It has a certain conceptual scheme of the world, which is the most important thing is to survive. The most important thing is to take care of of my physical needs. So you need the engraving from the inside. That's what the intellectual soul does, and you need the engraving from the outside. Sorry, that was sorry. That was from the outside, and the inside is this making a well into which the super rational mitzvot function. They create a well inside the animal soul. And so you need these two chukot, you need these two chakikot, these two types of scouring or engraving in order to come to love God. Otherwise, it's not love of God. At most, it'll be fear of God. But it won't be love of God. So Benoni has love of God because he learns the Tanya. Okay, we'll continue tomorrow. It gets a little bit clearer. Right, tomorrow we're not learning. And the day after? Okay, so Friday.